All right, back out the carport garage again this morning, and today I'm gonna mess with the fuel rail some. So this is just a eBay fuel rail. It's 5/8 on the inside of it, but it's got 8AN orb ports on the end of it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feed. This is the front. I'm gonna feed the front, and then it'll come through and it'll come out the back, and I'm gonna 180 the back and put the regulator right here, and then do the return and the E85 sensor, and then the 8AN back. But this fuel pressure regulator I got, it's 8AN on the sides, but the return is a 6AN, and that's a really small hole. I wonder if I should drill that out. I mean, there's plenty of meat to drill it out. Look at that. Plenty of meat. But really, it wouldn't matter because that's as big as the hole is inside there. Yeah, so that's not going to matter. Never mind. I'm probably going to get a different regulator with 8AN ports on all three sides. I got one picked out. It's like $260 though. But this is just a cheap Amazon one. It was like $30. Seems to work okay. I don't know. But anyway, let's work on this. All right. Here's what we got. I don't know if it's going to be perfectly straight or not. It's kind of hard to figure all that out. These rails are offset. This bolt hole's actually more forward. This rail's more forward. And that rail does need to go back some, so it's just hard to do when it's hanging out like that because these lines are. But anyway, I don't know if you guys saw the video where I had nitrous on this car, but I had a bracket made that come up and down and around, and the nitrous solenoid was bolted to that little, just a sheet metal thing I made, bent and drilled some holes in. I'm gonna do the same thing. Kind of wish I'd kept that piece now, because I don't think the guy I sold the nitrous kit to used it. And then that'll bolt to that. But honestly, I could probably just put some of that rubber sticking back on the back of this and it'd probably be just fine. I don't know. We will see. But that's the idea. And I'm just going to 90 out of this and go to that Y block. And then it'll go to the 10AN. And I'm on 90 out of this with an 8AN, and the flex fuel sensor goes somewhere in here, and then on back. I need to get that 8AN in and run it under the car and put some of them round clamp things, and yeah. All right, fuel rails are back on, and that was way easier than having those connected in the back and having to put them both in at the same time. Like that, I was able to put this side in and put this side in. Way easier. Way easier. There's with the fuel pressure regulator on it. The fuel pressure regulator is going to be laying down, but I just wanted to see what it looked like that. I mean, it would clear. There's a cow hood. But yeah, it's going to lay it down. Alright, there's what we got. It'll come in right here. I'll either put a 90 there, or I'll just curve that and use that straight. Not sure. They say not to use a bunch of 90s, but I could curve that like that, and it'd go like that, which would be fine. Or I'll just put a 90 in there, and then it splits into 8AN, goes in the boat front, goes back the rail, 180's out of the back of the rail into the regulator, and then whenever I get the 8AN line, it should come tomorrow, we'll 90 off of that and bring that down and down with the 10AN line and all the way back. I don't want to cut and put the fitting on this one yet until I hang everything underneath the car, so I know what length where I need to cut it at. And then basically all that's left on this is to run the 8AN line, cut and put fittings on both ends of it, cut and put the filter in when I get the filter, and then on the 8AN line when we get the E85 bypass thing, that's going to have to go in here somewhere. But yeah, that's pretty much done. I mean, everything's tight that's hooked up. I could probably go ahead and hook up the... Now I'm going to leave the vacuum off for the fuel pressure regulator, because we're probably going to have to reset that. I'm going to put it at 43. And then the guy from Bad Luck Garage, he explained to me, when you got a vacuum referenced fuel pressure regulator, you don't scale the injector table. You just flat it all the way across. And so I'll put that at 43. The injector's measured 165 to 171. So I'll just put that table at 168, which is going to require a bunch more tuning because I'll have to change all the tables, the fuel tables and the VE table. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. We'll finish this video up once we get the 8AN line. Alright, it's another day. Got some more pieces to the puzzle. Still haven't got my 8AN line though, that needs to go from the trunk to the front of the car. It was supposed to have been here a few days ago, but they updated the shipping date on it and said it was supposed to come today. But we got our bypass for the ethanol sensor, which I've got laying over there for right now. Got a 100 micron eBay filter. That's a lot smaller than I thought. It's about the size of the stock filter though, so that's cool. So I can just put that where the stock filter went. Got a couple 30 amp single pole double throw relays. Didn't need for them to be double throw, but I'm familiar with those, so those are the ones I'll use. Actually, we could probably hook both pumps up. We'll put them on separate ones. The fuel pump, fuel filter came with an Allen wrench. That's different. And then I don't know if that's an old power block Christopher bought for his car, but we wound up using a different one. I ordered a couple of different more. I might use those instead. But I want a power block in the trunk for the ground and the power, just for, well, the fuel pumps and the relays, and maybe for whatever else I decide to put back there. Until I can move the battery to the trunk, I do want to move the battery to the trunk, and then I want to run a cold air up to here. You can't run it in the fender on these cars unless you take the overflow out, because the overflow goes under the battery and actually hangs down here. There's a big round thing down here for the overflow. But anyway, sidetrack. We can go ahead and put this on. I got enough 8AN line to where we can run off the back of the fuel pressure regulator, off the bottom of it. So we'll run off the bottom of that. We'll stick the E85 sensor bypass right here, and hopefully end up right over here. Again, it's really perfect. So it does look like you could make this yourself with a couple of Ys, a couple of straights, and then some of those that go from thread to thread. 8AN female to 8AN female, and just like those things I put on the stock tank. I think these are 6AN to quick connect, because all this does is go right in here. So 8AN in, 6AN 3/8, and then back to 8 AN. Because this 3/8, it would cause a restriction, which the bottom of my fuel pressure regulator is 6 AN. That's probably going to cause a restriction. Hopefully it don't, but we'll see. If we turn the pump on, if we turn both pumps on at idle and the regulator fuel pressure shoots up, that's a bad sign. But anyway, let's put this together. That's pretty easy. You just unscrew these quick connect pieces. This unscrews. You put this down in the groove and then screw this up into that, and there's some rubber seals in here for the shaft part. And then screw this female 6 AN onto this. Same thing over here. And then put this on, and then put your Ys on at the same time. And this, maybe I don't have the recommended filter, but this was a little too short, so you can see it buckled that a little bit. When I tightened this side up, it buckled this side a little. That's not a problem, as long as it still flows through there. It's definitely not crimped, so good to go. Now that's gonna go right here somewhere, right there. So now we just need to make a piece that goes from there to there, which it looks like it's just going to be long enough to fit a straight and a 90 on. That's it. Not sure what I had that for, but there you go. So we'll just put a straight right here and barely anything in there, because it's gonna go right up against it pretty much. All right, that's what I got. Comes over there. I wanted to make that shorter, but it was too hard to put together, making it any shorter than that. It comes over here, and then I'm just going to put a 90 right there. And on the 10 AN, I'm going to do a 45. I already hooked up the ethanol sensor, grounded it out on the cool pack. That's going to do it for that. Now we're going to go under the car and put the filter on in the stock location. All right, filter's in. That'll go right there once it's all connected up in there. But now we can run the 8 AN line that did come in the mail today. All right, the 8 AN line is ran just like the stock lines were, and I'll put some wire loom on that to protect it from that ledge. But yeah, everything's all tightened up back here. Now we can start wire looming the fuel lines back here, and then that's going to give us an idea where we're going to end up here, and then we can go ahead and cut and put the fittings on those two fittings there. And that should do it for that. All right, that's how that's going to be right there. And then there's another one right there. Nothing moves. And then there'll be one more there, one more there, and then one right there on that nut as it goes up. And that ought to do it for that. But now that I've got it pretty much where it's going to go, I'm going to do some measuring up there. I'm going to put these other ones on and just get an idea. I'm not going to tighten them up. I'm just going to put them up there. And then pull it up at the front. Mark it with some black tape, and then we'll bring it back down here and stick it out there. Because doing those fittings under the car sucks. Probably be easier to measure all this, take it out, then do the fittings, then put it back in, but I'm too lazy for that. But almost there. Alright, it's all connected and tight except for this right here, because I'm going to run some fluid through this one. Before I connect that, I'm going to run that run some fluid through that. And then the return, I'm gonna run fluid through that. But first, you can prime the 96, 94 through 97 Camaros, maybe even 93. Have a fuel pump prime right here where you turn on the fuel pump. Right there. So I'm gonna start the fuel pump, and I'm gonna fill up the surge tank, see if it leaks any. I don't know what else it's gonna fill up. It might fill up the return line. All these small lines, the big lines I can't blow through, but the small lines, the short ones, I blew through those like I was shooting a dart gun, a blow dart gun. So I'm pretty confident those are pretty clean, but the big long ones you can't really do that on. So the feed and the big return, I'm gonna run fluid through those, but I'm gonna fill up the surge tank, make sure it don't leak. And I don't know, it's not gonna fill up the feed line because the fuel pumps have check valves in them, and it might fill up the return line, but that's tight. I don't think it'll go past the regulator though, but we'll see. All right, fuel pump's running. Just checking for leaks. It's not going to go through this, but it's going to go through these. But I can hear it. I can feel it. Yeah, it's pumping in on that one. It's going back on that one. Let's get this full, and then we'll have to run pump one. I'll have to bring the battery back here or something. I just want to make sure this didn't leak, and it does not. It's solid as can be, and that's got to be full by now. Yeah, I can feel it going back the return line. Let's go up here and see. Oh, shirt put on the trunk. Oh no, it did come up the feed. Shut her off. It came back up the feed somehow. I don't even know how that's possible. Maybe it come back and around the regulator. Which I can test that theory here in a minute. We'll tighten that up, and then we'll see if the regulator, I guess it pushes the regulator open. I don't know. But I ain't gonna lie, I didn't expect it to come up here. It must be coming up the return line, then going back through, which kind of sucks because I was wanting to run fluid through those and clean them all out. If it did that, I thought it'd stop at the regulator. Let's see if we get fuel pressure. But I don't see no leaks. That's a good thing. Oh wow, that might still be leaking. I don't know why. Now I've looked and looked and looked. I tightened that up and it's still leaking. But luckily, I got some more of those Earl's Performance conical seals. I don't even know how gas got up in there. It must have came up the return line, through the regulator, through the fuel rail, and then back this way, because them pumps have check valves in them. There's no way it should have came this way. So it's going that way. But we need to kick the pump on, and in the surge tank, at least one of them, and see what it does. But I need to put a Earl's Performance conical seal on that so it stops leaking. But that's the only leak I see, honestly. With all the fittings that I put on this thing, geez, oh Pete's. Thought for sure there was going to be a few leaks, and there might be when we turn that big pump on, but we'll see. Well, I found another leak. This one and this one are leaking. I don't know if they're leaking from the bottom part or right here. I'm gonna try to tighten those up a little bit more and see. Where it's coming from. Could even be coming from up here. I don't know. It could just be coming from here. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll have to watch it while the pump's running. I put a Earl's Performance conical AN seal there, so that shouldn't leak anymore. Now let's turn on the pump. See if we can't figure out where the leak's coming from back here. I don't know where it come from. It ain't doing it now. I didn't tighten nothing up. Oh, there it is. Can y'all see it? Yeah, it's coming from down here. Right at the threads. So there's another one. Yeah, put another 10 AN conical seal on that too, I guess. Glad I bought those. Actually, it wasn't even tight. I went ahead and tightened it up. See what we got now. I don't know. I forgot to dry it off before I turn the pump back on. I think it's still leaking. Pretty sure. Yeah, it's still leaking. Conical seal time. I know you can't see it, but gnats must love alcohol because there's a ton of gnats over there now where I was leaking ethanol. Now I'm gonna go ahead and run some wires. Turn at least one pump on, see, let it cycle, and see if there's any more leaks. But black and red wire. It's 10 gauge through the grommet hole. Can't see. And then I already took the kick panel out. I'm gonna put it under the carpet there, under the kick panel. Run it up through here. I took that out. That goes right here. And then right to the back. Alright, and that switch right there, that was for my nitrous, for the bottle heater to heat up the bottle. That was already ran in the trunk, but when I took the nitrous system out, I had cut it up here. It is a hot wire to trip the relay. So that's what we're going to use to trip the relays for the pumps, for the fuel pumps. And I'll show you how I do the relays, but for now, they're both pumps are going to come. I got to order a Hobbs switch, but I'll just run one pump for now, and then if I feel I need both pumps, I'll hook them up right before I make a pass. But I need a Hobbs switch to read boost pressure. That way when the boost pressure goes over 4 pounds, the Hobbs switch a ground out, and I'm going to have that for the second pump for the relay, and it'll ground the other relay out and turn the second pump on. But I'm just going to run that down through here. I changed it to a red wire because it's a hot wire. I needed a little more wire, but I use these little solder connectors and then these heat shrink things, and then it was cut right there. But yeah, run that to the trunk. Alright, I went ahead and stripped the ends of them wires using my little alligator jumper cables over to the pump one. There should be enough gas in there to cycle that. If not, I'll prime that pump a little bit. But I made some eyelets up here. I grounded that one there. I'm just going to put this one here and see what we get. Make sure no leaks. See what our fuel pressure is. Alright, we got fuel pressure right at 50 where I'd set it before. Now just look around for leaks. No more leaks back here. Been running a minute. I don't see any leaks up here. Checking everywhere. I feel it flowing through there. I don't see any on the fuel rail. Now let's go look at the filter. I think I did a pretty good job of hanging that. Then we look at the filter. I've dropped this and boogered up these, the end of this fitting. Look at there. It ain't leaking. Man, that's good stuff. I like it. Let it run for a little bit longer. Make absolutely sure there's no leaks. And got good. And then we can put the power block in it, and then we can run the relays. I think I'll save that for another video. It's getting dark outside. Hopefully I'll pick Chris up tomorrow, and then Friday we'll be racing. But tomorrow I'll do the relays and the power block on this. But that's going to do it for this video. Y'all like and subscribe. Have a great day. That's a good sign. When you shut off the gas, 30 minutes later, it's still got 20 psi pressure. It did not do that with the stock lines. As soon as you turn the fuel pump off, it went straight to zero. I might have had a leak somewhere. I don't know. Oh, one more thing. The pump in there, even though it's bigger, is quieter inside there than that pump is in there. I can hear that one. I can't even hear that one.